Hello. Hi, Shelley. You
Hi,
made
how are you?
Yeah, last week you promised to come early. You made it. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording until that we will find. And I am recording it. Hi, Rico.
Hi, Rico. Hi, Lynn.
So good to have you
Shelley.
here. So I promised you all, hi, Robin. I promised you all a Rupert video, and we are going to do that. But I want to save people some time. Not everybody will need this extra, but for those of you who already know it, it will just be relaxing into what you already know. But it's a little slide that will preface what Rupert is saying. Let me see if I can make this smaller. Just 1 second. Okay, let's do it this way. All right. Here we go. Okay, now I'm going to screen share. To go back here. Okay. Screen share. All right, do you see this now?
Yeah.
Happiness or peace? Okay, let me get rid of these pictures here. So I can read. Okay. Happiness is the absence of resistance or seeking. It's the natural and ever-present condition of our, just a second, self-awareness in all situations and under all circumstances. Now, there aren't any hard words in this. And yet, if you read this as self-awareness, which many people say self-awareness, what they mean when they say self-awareness is the separate self, the personal self being aware. Does that make sense? You can understand that English as I'm aware of, I'm having attack thoughts. I'm aware that I'm seeking from love. So I can't see your faces right now. Can you mute yourself if you're typing? Because I can't go back there right now. So what if there's a new definition of awareness just for right now so that we can understand this video and this slide of more deeply what it means. So let's say almost everybody here has done my type of meditations, and the ones who have not have, I believe, gone very deeply into meditation. And I'm speaking of the moment that you forget your troubles, you forget your personality, you are in a nothingness. Raise your hand if you've been there. So I'm not looking, but I assume that's everybody. So Rupert is talking about awareness with a capital A as being that place-like place, that place-like person. It's not a person. It's the knower that you're still alive. You're not in your personality. You're not actually in your body, but you're aware of a body. We all know that place. When he says happiness or peace is the absence of resistance, the absence of seeking, it's the natural and ever-present condition of self, meaning awareness. He's calling self, all the letters are capitalized, as awareness. So hopefully that makes a little bit of a difference Does everybody, hi, Katie, nice to see you. Does everybody understand the point that I'm trying to make? It's not I, the personal self that's aware of my thoughts and feelings. That in this non-dual language is called I've just forgotten the word. Anybody know? It's kind of the relative self, the relative awareness, the local awareness. That's with a small a. You don't need to use those words. I don't even think that that's important, because it's only important to know that's not what he's talking about. He's talking about awareness with the capital A, that nothingness, that's everything, that peace that's the same every time we go there, every time we let go. It's a similar experience. That is the awareness with a capital A. And in his understanding that non-dual teaches, that is what we are. We've just been localized into a body, just like the tree got localized as a tree. But it's a consciousness only model. Does anybody have any question about what I'm saying? Does anybody feel like it's irrelevant that you already know this? Even if you already know it, it's so important to be reminded. I could have saved myself years if somebody had said they're not talking about, when someone, even teachers that we study with that are in common, they'll say, in my awareness, they're talking about a personal self who is noticing something. And the reason, yes, that's a beginning. That's very, very important as a beginning, but it's not what he's talking about. So if we want to get the subject of the video, we have to go to his language. So language is a little tricky, but does everybody understand what I'm talking about? That he means that you, that is the everything, the you that is life, the you that is not a separate personal being. You are a localization means you're alive, you're present in a body. We're not denying that, but that is not what you are. In his language, let's just enjoy him for tonight, and just as an experiment, to the best that we can, join him in I awareness. And I think that's a great experiment. Every time you refer to yourself for a day or so, to say, I awareness. I awareness. It changes things, I promise. So now we'll go to the video, and then Dov will be joining us later. Okay, now we got to go back to screen sharing.
We're talking about levels of awareness, basically, Rosalind.
Yes, levels, but I prefer to not think of it as levels, because then I go into the hypnosis where I'm confused, because that local awareness often has a judge. It's still part of your personality. It's still connected to a personal you. So yes, it's lower down, if you want to say, and this is higher up, but I want to notice when I'm still in a personal self, and when I have changed location into the everything. It's pretty dramatically different. And I don't believe, morph into each other. I don't think you slide into one or the other. They're so different that it almost takes what feels like a decision, but it's a moment. You say, uh-oh, and then you have a choice once you've noticed. Did you have your hand up, Mayfer? Yes, please.
For me is
that it's like it's talking about our natural state,
Yes.
because always we are looking happiness outside of
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes.
And it's like okay, come to my natural state
Yes.
that I want to discover completely.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. That's it. And that's what he says. It is our natural state, but it isn't our natural state to be separate. We think that it is. So let's go ahead to share the screen and listen to the video. Do you see him on the screen? Yeah, but he's not playing. Come on, Rupert.
Hit this triangle.
I don't know what to do. It looks like it's trying awfully hard. Let me try another way. Okay, let me pause that. We don't want this. Okay, let me stop sharing the screen and we'll try again.
WHYY is here every
my
day with
goodness.
trustworthy, fact-based, local, and national news because listeners like you give us your support. This Giving Tuesday,
My
make a gift to
goodness, this is funny.
WHYY and help keep this resource strong. Yeah.
You know, my mother didn't know her grandfather's name.
The difference is all this.
I mean, after I read
All
the
right.
book, I remember
I have no idea what that is.
I
Just a second.
talked to my mother more about it. And I think maybe as a result of me being a little older, she didn't sort of brush it away as she had, I think, when I was younger. She said, look, this was incredibly complicated for me growing up. And she just...
Thanks for being patient, everybody. We're going to try this one.
If you hit the very bottom arrow on your...
Yeah, it's not on that format.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. So we're gonna. Okay. Here we go. Okay, that's not going to play now. So I'll tell you what we're going to do.
Hi, Mary.
Here we go. Okay, now I just need to make this a little smaller and screen share with you again. Okay.
Hi, Mary.
Do you see that?
Hi, Rupie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. This is a very happy day for me. It's Ben's birthday, so I say happy birthday to Ben. But that's a different happiness than what we've been speaking about. I think the real happiness doesn't exclude that happiness on that one day or anything, but it's different. It's very, very different. It doesn't take a special day to have it happen. It doesn't need.
Mary, there's only one kind of happiness. There isn't one kind of happiness that you feel on your birthday, another kind of happiness that you feel when the sun shines, another kind of happiness when your best friend calls, another kind of happiness. it's always the same. From as long as you can remember, when you were a 5-year-old girl, the happiness you experienced then is exactly the same as the happiness you experience on Ben's birthday. It has been liberated by a different experience. It was preceded, the experience of happiness was preceded by a trip to the seaside as a 5-year-old girl, and on Ben's birthday now. But the experience itself is always the same. It is the shining of your being. Now, what is it what is it about the trip to the seaside as the 5-year-old girl, or Ben's birthday, or any other event that makes us happy? What is it that, in your experience, that is common to every single event or object or person that has made you happy? What is the common, in your relationship to that event, what is the common element in your relationship to every single object, event, or relationship that has made you happy? There's one thing they all have in common.
Yes.
It's that you say yes to them.
Yes.
That's it. That's the only thing that determines your happiness. You say yes to it.
Yeah.
Think about it. Everything you say yes to in your life makes you happy. Everything you say no to makes you unhappy. You say yes to Ben today, and you're having a happy day. Tomorrow, if he does something and you say no to him, the same Ben that made you happy today will make you miserable tomorrow. It was not Ben's fault. He is not responsible for your happiness today, and he will not be responsible for your misery tomorrow. I'm sure you won't be miserable tomorrow. What is it that dictates whether a person, an object, an activity, or a situation makes us happy or not? It is not the person, the object, the activity. It is whether we say yes to it or no to it. That's it.
Yeah.
So instead of demanding the world and people to be just the way we need them to be in order to make us happy, in order to make us say yes to them, why don't we make the prior determination just to say yes to everything? We don't even need to say yes to everything, because awareness, it is awareness's nature.
It's a yesness nature.
Awareness is
Yeah.
yes to everything. It's like the space of this room. Has the space in your room, has the space in the universe, Mary, ever said no to anything?
No, it hasn't.
Does it say no to the sunshine? Does it say no to an atomic explosion? Does it say no? No, the space never says no. Well, awareness is an aware space whose nature is just a universal yes to everything. And that is why awareness is always happy. It's not that we, the mind, need to struggle to say yes to everything as opposed to saying yes to some things and no to others. We just have to realize it's too late. We awareness, the fact that something is happening means awareness has already said yes. It's too late for the mind to come in and say, well, I like this and I don't like that. This is why this is an effortless way. It is simply to recognize that we, the space of awareness, simply, naturally, effortlessly embraces all experience. Now, I don't mean to imply that it is not appropriate to respond to situations, but we respond to situation having, without the resistance, not from a place of resistance. We respond appropriately moment to moment from a place of love and understanding and intelligence. And
So the yes is always there.
The yes is our nature. The yes is the nature of awareness. We do not have to struggle to change our resistance into welcoming, but rather to see that it is the nature of awareness, to be open to all experience. Awareness cannot resist experience.
Okay, I'll give you the example that I have about these feelings that you talk about. You said when you start on this journey, certain feelings will start coming up, and boy, did they, once they heard that invitation. And so I very gently practiced the inviting it and even feeling happy that they were coming.
Good.
And then they would come more often.
Good.
And they
Bring
came
them on.
and they
That's
brought
great.
them on. I said, come. And then one day I said, you're invited. And they said, wait a minute, we have an invitation for you. And they said, what are you doing with that wall of separation with us? And I realized what I had done. I had, yes, invited, but with the restriction of a wall of separation. And I didn't even know it until they showed me. It took those feelings to show me that I still was holding separation from them when they wanted to be whole with me the whole time.
Yes.
So now they come willingly, or they come when they want to.
Perfect.
I invite them. They're invited to stay here regardless of.
Yes. You are liberating yourself. You, Mary, you awareness are liberating yourself from the accumulated residues of all the experiences in your life that you have said no to. And this no to experience has been stored in you, and layer upon layer upon layer, from early on in childhood, when we could not face or process our experience. And by doing this, it's not something we're even doing. It's just by being knowingly this allowing, loving presence of awareness, we are liberating awareness from these residues of feeling. And the more awareness is liberated from these feelings, the water of awareness becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. And as a result, awareness increasingly tastes itself as it is. Remember Nisargadatta, the Indian sage who I know many of you know about, at the end of his life, someone asked him, what's it like getting older? And he just said, I get happier and happier. And
Yeah.
what he meant was that any old residues that were left in the water of awareness, the clear water of his being, was progressively liberated from any residues. And as a result, its nature, the nature of his being, shone more and more in his life. That nature is happiness, the shining of happiness.
Yes.
And just by being knowingly the presence of awareness and inviting these feelings that for so long we have been repressing and avoiding because we thought they were too painful. Sometimes we say this feeling was unbearable. No, no feeling is unbearable. Awareness never says this is unbearable. Awareness can bear everything. Space can bear everything. What is it that says this is unbearable? It is just another feeling. It is the feeling of resistance. It is meeting a feeling with another layer of resistance and thereby pushing it down.
I think good poetry says that in many ways.
Indeed, yes.
And good music does too. I have one here, a short one. Derek Walcott, Love After Love. The time has come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door and in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcoming and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life.
Beautiful, Mary. Who wrote that?
Derek Walcott. He was a Caribbean poet. It's just beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you for reading that. That's beautiful.
All right, everybody. How was that?
Gorgeous.
I love the poem. The poem really, really touched me.
Yes, I can give you the reference. I will write it to you if you like. It's
Yes, I'd
called
love.
Love After Love. He's was raised in Santa Lucia. His name is Derek Walcott, and he won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1992. It's
Really?
a beautiful poem. Would you like the words? Would you all like the words?
I would love the
Yes,
words.
yes,
I
please.
I will send those to you. I
Tell
want
it like, just love.
yes, there. Well, maybe I'll read it to you again at the end.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, because it takes a couple of times to truly take that in. Yeah. And
Can we get a copy of it?
what's that?
Can we get a copy of it?
Yes, I'll send it to you, and you can also find it on the web, but I will for sure send it to you.
I'd like to hear my higher self read it to me.
Yes, yes,
See what that feels like.
yes,
But
yes.
Rupert Spira's, that awareness, wow.
Yeah. Did it help that little preface I did ahead of what he was talking about? That
Yes,
it's
yes.
not, for those who came in late. Hi, Araba. I didn't see exactly when you came in, and I don't know when Katie came in or when Karen came in. Welcome. But I did a little talk and showed you a slide that he's not talking about the personality, Rosalyn, am aware of my thinking, my feeling, that is not the awareness that he's talking about. He's talking about that knower that knows every time you leave the personal self, let's say in meditation or daydreaming. Let me get that. Suzanne is here. I'll mute her. Every time we daydream or every time our car drives somewhere and we didn't remember driving there, that is awareness. And it's the same every time. It's so nothing that we don't recognize it. And yet it's everything. Realize its consistency. It's the same every time we go there. So just understanding that the local awareness, which is when some teachers say, my awareness noted this and that, they're talking about the personality, and that's a place to start. But it doesn't take us unless we know there is something to that nothingness when you were a kid and you were daydreaming and somebody said, pay attention, that they were pulling you out of awareness. Today, when I was chatting with one of you, I got this idea of the toddler. How many of you have watched a toddler try to walk and how they hold on to the furniture? Raise your hand if you remember. They hold the wall, and their belief is that they can walk if they hold on, and that the wall or the chair or the bench or the couch, they are walking because of that. Now, they aren't wrong, but they aren't right. They have the potential to be a walker. And at that moment in their potential, they believe they need a couch, a wall, but that is not the truth of their nature, right? We can all get that. The children were born, unless they had some issue, they were born ready to walk at the right time. And that's us. What if that's us? That we have these ideas of limitation and we believe them, we trust them, but we are really 100% potential. And that potential is that awareness of the room that welcomes everyone and everything, and the air and the exchange. What if we had to manage the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide and all of that, right? So I'll stop talking and let anybody who wants to share your response to the video or anything we talked about.
Rosalyn, I did appreciate the beginning because when I think of awareness, it's like I think of it in that way, that I'm aware. So this took it to, I have not heard it or haven't paid attention. So I appreciated that. Thank you. And I thought the video was just let's keep listening and go to that space, because that's how it felt just listening to him. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Was there any confusion for anybody? Because it's fine. If you're confused, it just means the hypnosis. So here's what happens to me, and I don't know if it happens to you. When I hear say yes to everything, first I think of like racial injustice. I can't say yes to that. I'm being trained to understand and so on. Well, we're not being asked to say, yes, we agree. We're asked to say, yes, this happened. And then the next second, we are free to respond fully as love's present to the next second. Rico, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I had a quick question. John talked about levels of awareness, and you quickly took that out the picture. Would you call the awareness with the capital A or all caps true awareness? Or is it just awareness? That's the only way it can be.
Well, the language is it's awareness with a capital A. And it's just my experience that we're either located in a personal self or we've remembered that we are true awareness. And yes, it is levels, because we have to start somewhere. When we're completely unconscious, if you say to a person who's never done any of this work, even on psychological work or any kind of local awareness on your attack thoughts. Let's say you've been noticing, like ACIM asks us to notice our attack thoughts and choose again. That is local awareness. And yes, it's valuable when we all thought, most of us thought we were nice people before we did ACIM. And then we noticed, oh my God, I'm full of attack thoughts and, blah, blah, blah. So we needed that then, but that doesn't bring us to the impersonal. It is pointed to in A Course in Miracles, but I always think of it as ventriloquism because it's like the ACIM talks both ways, to the personal self and to the impersonal. Lesson 189, forget everything, forget this course, come with holy, empty arms onto awareness, onto what you are, onto your nature, as Mayfer said, onto your true nature, onto your, what is that what you called it, your nature? Yeah. So does that answer your question, Rico?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Mayfer.
Yeah, I would like to say something that came to me, and is that the fear to say no is because we think that that all of this is real. Because if we remember that this is not real, that there is no war, why now we say yes, right? That is because always we are fearful. That I say no because I had fear to justify my personality, my role, right?
Yes, we're holding on for dear life to our identification. And yet it's really, how much isn't it like the little kid holding the wall? I mean, they're holding on for dear life because that's us. Anybody like that? It tickled me when it came to me today. Yeah. Arba, you look like you have something to say. No, you're just enjoying. You're just smiling. John?
I just see that same way, actually, not as a universal personality and versus a localization, or when you say hypnosis, would be like the critical factor who's always looking after my well-being in this planet. But that's only a tiny, like that's like the flea on the elephant. The elephant is the one that's the full awareness, is really taking me to the beach or making me happy, or that has my interest in art. But it's the same elephant that's in everybody else. Mm-hmm. So I think I do get the understanding, and I do appreciate very much that what you mentioned about the love part coming in when Shelley said, I asked me who I'm falling in love with, and I said I like to love myself, because that is basically just the awareness, and that came in that poem. It's freaking mind-blowing, and I really enjoyed it a lot. So thanks a lot for that, for catching that video and showing it to us.
Yeah, thank you, John. Dov, you're here.
Yes, yes, okay. And I second what John just said. Thank you so much for finding that video and showing it to us. Rosalyn showed it to me about 3 or 4 days ago and said, should we play this? And I watched it and I said, yes. And I got to tell you, Rosalyn, it has made a big difference in my life. I just want you to know that. I have a friend, Dr. Rod Shelberg, who wrote a book called If God Calls You, Say Yes. And he's a very mystical guy. He was a neurosurgeon, a brain surgeon, and he used to do things in the surgery room that nurses said, how did he know that? How did he know that? He's a very mystical guy, definitely channeling Jesus, or as he would say, Christ. And it came to, in fact, after I watched it, the first thing I did is I took the video and sent him a copy of the video and said, watch this. It got me to take a look at a few things. First of all, if you're looking at the world, and that's what we're all doing, we're always looking at the world, and you can't say yes to the world. It isn't, should I become aware and then tell them how I feel about racial injustice? No, because when you're looking at the world, you're always kind of got a defense system of, it's like a shield. You can't really trust what you're looking at, so you have to be able to judge what you're looking at. So before you say yes, and that judgment wall, that's a separation that keeps you from just automatically saying yes.
I think that's what Mary in the tape was saying, that she discovered there was this wall with this resistance, this separation, that she wasn't saying yes, just like what you're saying, that she was putting up conditions. I think when you're done, Dov, I want to go back to that because
Okay, exactly.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me just continue
Yeah,
because
please
I haven't really started yet.
Okay.
So I realized, the course tells you very clearly, like at the last lesson of part 1 of the workbook, lesson 200, says, there is no peace but the peace of God. And he says, if you keep looking in the world, you're not going to find it. It's not that you're finding a needle in a haystack. There's no needle. It's all hay. What are you looking for? And he says, if you keep looking, you're going to be bitterly disappointed. And then in the second paragraph, he says, but if you look where it is, you must find it because that's where it is. You must succeed. And then he says, in a 2-word sentence, come home, period. Come home. It reminds me of the prodigal son. He just kept squandering it and wasting and wasting. And what is he wasting, by the way? Is he wasting money? Of course not. He's wasting his time. It came to me last night as I woke up from a dream that those immortal words from Shakespeare, what fools these mortals be, is the mantra of the ego thought system. The ego looks at the Son of God. My God, I'm dangling confetti, tinsel, hay in front of him, and he's looking for the needle in the haystack. There's nothing here. The ego knows there's nothing, literally, but we think it's something. And the only thing that we're really doing, and I realize the only thing we're really doing is wasting time. It's a waste of time to say, oh, I got all this stuff, and just keep looking out into the world for more. The word more, as you know, is the Course in Miracles symbol for the Antichrist. So when I don't want to know that I'm the Christ, I keep looking in the world for more. But when I want to come home, I literally, just like Dorothy, she could have always clicked her heels and gone home. Just like the prodigal son, he could have gone home at any time, but until he just couldn't take it anymore. And then he said, look, I just want to go home. So saying yes is becoming what we are, which is the awareness that my Father loves me. He's always with me. It's not that, we use the word God, like, well, God is up there, or no, God is with me and God walks with me. No. Stop using the word God. Use the word one. Use the word one. Because we're always one, always. That is a truth. And if I want the lie, I'll look in the world. If I want the truth, I'll look within. We are one. We are one. And he says, God's will, one's will for me is perfect happiness. And that's lesson 101. And lesson 102, we share the same will, one mind, one. You're saying yes to yourself. And you're saying no to the world, basically, because we've been saying yes to the world for such a long time. So it's literally time to turn around and realize we're going in the wrong direction. It's really about direction. And my new mantra, basically, which I mentioned, is lesson 258. God is the goal. let me remember God is my goal. So if your goal is oneness, if your goal is coming home, you can always say yes because you're aware that there's nothing else but this oneness, Yeah. So we're saying yes to oneness. Oneness. That's what awareness is. Awareness is oneness. And I just want to add just one other thing. When you were talking, Rosalyn, it occurred to me that as you get older, as you mentioned, as you get older, you know, it was Rupert. Nizagadad, as he got older, he got happier and happier. And I think when you get older, you don't have the same needs anymore. And you have more awareness and less needs for the body. And I think that helps you go to sleep very easily because awareness just allows you to close your eyes and go to sleep. That's my experience. You know, the easiest way to go to sleep is go into your awareness. Awareness just says, rest, take your beauty rest. And that's what I want to share with you. Thanks. Thanks, love.
Thank you, Dov. It's beautiful. I love that awareness is oneness. And if we really follow what this video says, and we think of what was Mary talking about, and when you mentioned, oh, I'm going in the wrong direction, let's say I'm judging myself or I'm attacking someone, that is what the Course would say, choose again. That is the wrong direction. You are not going home. Non-duality would say yes to going in the wrong direction. Do not fight to get back into the right direction. Do not fight to choose again. Do not fight because that's resistance. That is, it doesn't work. How many of us have tried it? We're watching ourselves going in the wrong direction, commenting, oh my God, look at you, you're judging, you're da 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 da, and we keep going. The only thing the non-duality says is say yes. Remember that tug of war, drop the rope. Say yes to it. And then see yes to the next moment, yes to the next moment. And Mary was saying, she was suggesting that I say yes. So here's an example of what I thought Mary was saying. Of course, I'm not Mary, but I'm just guessing. So let's say Mary said, instead of restricting foods and I'm going to eat only good foods and bad food, not bad foods, and I'm going to only eat healthy or whatever her food rules are, she says, I'm going to say yes to everything. So she thinks she's saying yes to everything. And then she's watching how much peace there is in her food. And maybe she's eating really well, even though she said yes to everything. And then one day she eats food that used to be on the bad list. And then she finds out there was really a boundary, a condition on her saying yes. And I think that's what she's calling the separate self. Now she's resisting her behavior. Now she's in a struggle with what's the wrong direction. And so I think we can apply this to ourselves and use local awareness to see if we are able to say yes. And when we're not able to say yes to that and see if that doesn't bring more peace. Now, I just want to add my own experience here and see if it helps. Yay. If you're able to go from no, in other words, I am willing to say yes to all foods as long as I don't get fat. Let's say Mary was saying that. Well, that's not yes. And then she found that out. But let's say she was still in a fight with whatever it was, that the quote unquote bad food. I believe one has to, from my own experience, drop into the memory of oneness, or that space in the room, that nothingness. It takes walking through the door. It's very hard, I believe, to switch from the conditioned self, the residues, to the oneness without a portal, without a moment. And that's why it's so useful to see what are our portals. If you're a nature person, just think of nature and say, say nature is saying yes. The way I let go in nature, I can feel that. Let's say if you're a nature person, you can feel how you are with the trees. That could be your portal, even when you're in a struggle with somebody or something, or yourself, or the food, or the whatever. Just let me know if that's useful or not. Yes, thank you, Rafi. Thank you, Kazi. So, Carol, were you just responding, or did you want to say something? Yeah, thank you. So, Karen and Richard are here for the first time. What did you think of Rupert's video or any of what we've talked about tonight? Not sure when you tuned in.
I saw the whole video and I really enjoy Rupert's presence. You know, I could just listen to him. He's mesmerizing, he's authentic, he's very congruent, and it's delightful to listen to him.
Thank you. I'm glad to know how it landed on you. And did you notice she called him Rupee? You know, Adyashanti, they call Adyashanti people who know him Adya. And I've heard Rupert referred to that way, but I never heard anybody say, hi, Rupee. Very
I was
sweet.
also reminded, Rosalind, of a movie, the Jim Carrey movie, The Yes Man. What a funny movie that was, about somebody who was required to say yes to everything. And
I love that.
That movie has always stuck with me, about the funny way of being able to say yes. And I do like the word yes. As a teacher, I would really focus my attention on always saying yes, because I found with my students that the no just immediately got a resistance. So learning to be able to say yes to almost any question, and then you can always add the condition, but at least you keep your listener involved.
Yes, yes. And we know yes in our bodies, don't we? Yes makes us so much more creative in the next second. When we said no, it's very, we're coming up against the tide. We're working against the tide.
Yeah.
Dov, did you want to say something else, or Araba?
Araba, did you raise your hand?
I did, but if you
No, go ahead, please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So this is my first time, so thank you. I enjoy Rupert, and I've had a personal experience with him too. So one of the things that was interesting I heard you say, Dov, was, you know, let's not say God. And where I have come into, it also ties with what Rosalyn was saying in terms of where are our portals. So my understanding of God and how I use that language now is to describe that God is an experience. It's not an external being or thing outside of us, but it is the experience of oneness. And so to me, that's my portal of that memory of remembering the oneness with all life and with all things. And, you know, I hear resistance. We talk a lot about resistance in the Power of Love community. And I notice it in myself too. And yet, when I can begin to accept, you know, that saying yes to everything is, to me, this process of acceptance. I really, in my own localized model of awareness through healing, how I see it is that awareness moves into this process of accepting, allowing surrender. And there is where we move into what we might call healing. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Arba. Beautiful.
And that was beautiful. And I think we're on the same page. I was about to say the exact same thing. In fact, I put it in the chat. My favorite go-to paragraph from the Course in Miracles. What could you not accept if you knew that everything that happens, all events, past, present, and even to come, are gently planned by one whose only purpose is your good? So acceptance, I use the expression gentle acceptance. It's not an accept, the ego has, well, you know, I accept, it's a gentle awareness, gently accepts everything. It doesn't have to do anything. It just gently, the word gentle or gentleness in the Course in Miracles means you cannot harm, nor can you be harmed. And you find that in the teacher's manual and under the section for the characteristics of God's teachers. The gentle can neither harm nor be harmed. When you do look out into the world, you do have to have somewhat of a radar to see, you know, what's coming your way, because there are things out there that are different. But when you look within, you're looking at the sameness. The sameness is the oneness. And what you just said about the experience of oneness, that's right out of the Course in Miracles. What is heaven but an awareness of perfect oneness? So that idea of going within where you are one with all, you are equal to all. In a world of differences, inequality seems to be rampant. And in chapter 25 of the Course says it's called the justice of God. And only the justice of God allows you to have the peace of God. No justice, no peace. Justice, peace. It's that simple. And you're saying yes to the justice of God. You're saying yes to the peace of God. Thank you, Arba.
John and Rico have their hands up. John?
I just want to thank Araba for chiming in there. It's nice to see you on our call, and thank you for your participation there. It was great. Got some good stuff out of you. And one of the things that I just wanted to chime in myself was saying yes to the resistance that I experience in my body when I notice this tension, some muscular tension or something like that. And I know that's saying a no to something, but now to say yes to that, because I know it has a positive function for me. So like at some level. So I want to thank you for that, what you shared, because it was great. And it gave me a new awareness about that unconscious resistance that I'm, have no clue what it's about, but just by welcoming it and saying yes to it is another opportunity for me. So thanks a lot.
Yes, that's
Thanks, Dov.
beautiful, John. Saying yes to the tension, yes to the resistance. Yes, yes, beautiful. Rika?
Yeah, I first have to tell John, be sure to say yes to my love. I want to ask Dov a question. You started out, you were going to tell us about the guy who wrote this book, If God Calls You, Say Yes. And you started to give a comment on what he said about the video that you sent him, but you never finished the comment. I was curious.
I mean, he wrote it in an email, and he agreed to the idea that basically was put forth by Rupert, but nothing clear that I could tell you now. I mean, he just agreed with the viewing of Rupert Spira.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
I was
I
just
know
curious.
we're at time, and I promised to read the poem again. So we'll end with that. It's called Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Is that not gorgeous?
That's gorgeous.
That's amazing, Rosalind. Thank you. You're gorgeous too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, John. And so are you. And what you see and what you hear is you. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight.
Thank you all.
So beautiful. Bye.
Thank you, Roger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love beat you all.
Gracias. I love you. Gracias.
Love you. Mwah.
Quiero mucho, Mata.
Thank you.
Everybody, good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yes, Father.
That was a good one, Rosalind. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
Excellent.